What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into a very special edition of MVP Sports Live. I'm joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, who may not even be listening to me right now because he's more enthused with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and the Brooklyn Nets, but Dave Oster is here next to me.
Hey, everybody.
Dave is watching basketball. As yes, the NBA season has started. Yeah, it started today, Dave. It started. It's a great time. Right now. The season is back. Apparently, though, if the game's over by one quarter, Dave won't have to watch it anymore because the game will just be over. But we are back for another edition. We're talking all NBA today, Dave, as we had tons of extensions going on yesterday. We had the OG Anunoby we're going to discuss today, Markelle Fultz, Kyle Kuzma, Kennard got a deal, Isaac got a deal, Derek White got a deal. We're not going to look at that one per se. And then the no deals of Lauri, Lonzo Ball, John Collins. We're going to look at all of it, see what's going in, what's going out, what's being good. Oh, Rudy Gobert too. Forgot about that one because that one's going to lead the show. Before we get into everything, though, quick housekeeping. The new thing to housekeeping is as of tomorrow, our mock draft will be available to patrons. So if you want to see the mock draft, the very first one that Dave and I are doing, go to patreon.com/MVPvids. And you can get that a week before anybody else. The gold and platinum tier patrons get content like that a week early. So if you want to see it a week early, go support us on Patreon for this month, and you can get it a week early as of tomorrow, basically. Other than that, you'll have to wait until next Wednesday in order to get it. So if you want a little Christmas treat, go ahead and get yourself that for Christmas. If you want to join the Discord, which is the best community on the internet, link down below in the description, or !Discord into Twitch chat. Also for Patreon, that link down below, or !Patreon into Twitch chat. We're live on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids, but we are also on YouTube at MVP Sports. So that is done. Really, the mock draft took the place of the Patreon because it's kind of promoting both of those. So mock draft coming up. Can't wait for you guys to see that. As Dave said, it is a banger. But Dave, a lot of NBA going on, a lot of NBA being played right now. Nets and Warriors tipping off. That's tipped off about a half hour ago. But we did have contract extensions in the NBA. We're going to take a look at some of them. The first one is Rudy Gobert, Dave, as Rudy Gobert gets a 5-year extension worth $205 million. And the first thing I thought of, Dave, when I saw this contract, and yes, there might be some people, they may live in the state of Utah, that see our title and see my question and go, Ricky, you are being very disrespectful. Why do you got to be so disrespectful? But Dave, does he deserve it? Does Rudy Gobert deserve $5 million, 205, or 5 years, $205 million, and an extension with the Jazz?
I mean, look, he deserves an extension. The total cost is kind of tough to toss out there because you're in a small market. Mm-hmm. So like the real question is, what could you get for that? Like, who is going to take you up on a deal if you had that money available? The problem is that that's such an unknown. He is still an elite defender. You know, every year he's up there for Defensive Player of the Year. Every year he is going to be a All-NBA defender. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. The problem is that it felt like their hand was forced here. You either make the deal and have yourself, they're pretty much locked in with the Donovan Mitchell, Gobert teaming up. And yeah, they're always going to be a playoff threat. Or you don't lock him up. And then what? You turn into like, we have to trade him. And we've seen his value bounce around from, could be decent to like nobody wants to pay him. So only a bad team is going to pay him. And if you're going to give him to a bad team, what is the return? Because you want to compete right now. This is an early window to compete in the playoffs for the Utah Jazz.
I don't know. To me, my big thing is more so like with Rudy Gobert, the thing that I feel like why I would be on the side of, does he deserve it as a center? Yes. Like you said, defensive of the player candidate, very good defensively for the Jazz, is a building block to what they want going forward. Like the quote Rudy had after getting the deal, he says, it means they believe in me, he told ESPN. They believe in what we've been building over the years with this whole organization, which Coach Quinn Snyder and all the guys. For me, it's an incredible blessing. And it's a very motivating feeling to know that we all share the same vision and we all share this goal for this state and for this franchise. To me, though, I just look at all the other teams that are making deals and stuff, and it's like, all right, you're paying Donovan Mitchell. His is about, let's see, he's making 28, 30, 32, 34. So he's in the range. Actually, Gobert's contract is going to be even bigger towards the end because he's going to be making 43 that last year. I look at it and I go, how many teams are giving these type of contracts to centers and winning titles? Where you gave it to Donovan Mitchell, you gave him max to, or you had max contract in Conley for this year. We'll see what happens in free agency because he's going to be a UFA, could walk. It's like if you've already got Gobert and Donovan Mitchell locked to these contracts and you only have one more available, like, are you going to be able to make that work? Or we'll be looking back at this and going, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. They should have tried to move him or get rid of him to where they can give it to three guys that could actually help them win a championship. Because I don't know if by having Gobert for this getting the Supermax, or because is it a Supermax or is it a max at all? Okay,
it's a max plus. Basically, it's in between what the Supermax would have been 225, and the normal max would have been 200 flat. Yeah. So he negotiated up a little bit.
Okay.
But to your question,
like, he's not going to help them win a title. Like, I still don't think the Jazz win a title.
I don't know.
Gobert on it.
I don't think you can count it out. I think that the playoffs is very much a game of who's hot right now and who's healthy. And if you do both, then you absolutely have a chance to compete for a championship with that Utah team because they are 5 deep and they do have good players at every single position, like well above replacement average, every position. So I think maybe a little disrespectful there. You don't have to have, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant to say you can compete for a championship. I think they can compete. They need other guys to step up, obviously. But at the end of the day, like, you just have to continually be in the playoffs. And every year there's a chance you will get better, That's all it's about. It's easy to say, no, you don't pay centers. You just move on from him and trade him for other pieces that are better for you. Well, who's offering better pieces? That's the problem. Who's going to offer you a center who has a true shooting percentage as high as he does, who rebounds as well as he does, who defends at a all-world level? Like, doesn't grow on trees. I get you don't want to pay him, but he's also playing on a small market team in Utah.
Yeah.
And no offense to Utah, but they're not exactly a free agent hub. No. Name the last free agent who chose Utah. I'll give you time.
I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, Gordon Hayward was going to leave there. They matched him. They matched him. That's how they were able to keep him. Like, yeah, that goes into the debate we had about the whole small market, large market, which I believe was last week. We talked about that.
And it's exactly why Gobert got this deal. It's because he's in a small market, and they have to pay him to keep him. And then at some point, if they want to, they can match his contract to another great player and try to make that deal work if that other player is in a position where he doesn't want to be there anymore. Like, the contract in itself isn't terrible. Their hand was forced, and it doesn't eliminate them from anything in the future because you got to look at what their future prospects would be or could be, They could get a steal on a DeMar DeRozan on the cheap or something. They could get a Marcus Aldridge, like the two guys we talked about in San Antonio, who may not be long for that team or may be free agents at the end of the season. So there are some players. There are definitely guys around the league who could be moving. But again, it's not like that's a team where they go out and land a big deal kind of person. They add nice pieces, but they've yet to land a big name.
And like, I understand what you're saying, and I get it. I understand why they had to make this deal because, like you said, they're a small market team. It's kind of like how I look at Memphis is another one where it's like Memphis isn't going to be a big free agent hub. Look at how they've built their team. Ja. Drafted Jandon Jark, drafted or traded, like with the Justin Jinslow. They traded for him to where it's like that's how you build a team like that. But like I look at the playoffs the last 4 years for this team. they were able to, like, even this last year, they had a great series against the Nuggets, but yet again, it was only the first round. Like, in the second round, were they going to advance? Because, like, when they ran into teams like the James Harden Rockets, they've lost to them in 2 straight years, first round, second round, a combined record of 2-8 against the Rockets in the playoffs. When they played the Warriors 4 years ago, Warriors swept them. Now, I know the Warriors super team.
And that was with rookie or near second year Donovan Mitchell 4 years ago. It's hard.
Yeah.
Would have been right around there.
But, like, Donovan Mitchell, I think the last 2 years then are more suitable to look at because, like, the Rockets team they met in the first round 2 years ago, that was a James Harden team. That was a Donovan Mitchell who was third year in the league. Yet again, you could say didn't make the jump until fourth year because that's when most players make that jump. You can say something like that, but it's like with this team, I wonder with Rudy Gobert, is he going to stay out this contract with the Jazz or will they do what you were mentioning and go to move him?
First off, it'd be a disservice to not mention the fact that Bojan Bogdanovic was not with the team in the bubble, and they still put up a hell of a fight. They would have probably been in the conference finals. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I think they would have been there, and they would have stood a chance. So I think it's a situation where people are overlooking the contributions of someone who literally was shooting at a Clay-like level and played decent defense. So they're missing a starter. They're literally playing like nobody's. And that's what I'm saying. Like, health is the biggest thing. Like, this is a team where, because of their great positional talent, if they get in the playoffs, anybody else goes down on a different team, or there's a matchup that might be favored, like, they have a chance to compete for a championship with this roster. Now, it's not a guarantee they will get there. Donovan Mitchell has been hot in the playoffs. He does play up, and that's what's wonderful about him, but he definitely needs that help. And I think that just by having a healthy team there, they've made some nice moves. You had to bring Gobert back. Unless Donovan Mitchell hated him, which was a topic for a little bit there. The whole COVID situation with Gobert, he shut down the whole world. He shut down the U.S. league.
Best defender in the league, Dave. He shut down the whole league.
He shut it down real quick.
I look at it and I go, I agree with the point you made. There's a good chance they might have made the conference finals only because the Clippers were not as effective in the bubble as we thought they would be. Pandemic P, but like they also took Denver to 7, so who knows how.
If you think that adding Bojan Bogdanovic is going to win you one of those 4 games you lost, yeah, I would say so.
No, I'm saying if they, like, even without Bojan, if they beat Denver and went on, they could have even made the conference finals without Bojan. But, like, yeah, you're right. Bojan was a big piece that was missing, but, like, also at the same time, Donovan Mitchell needed to go to, because of that, like, Super Saiyan levels to where it was basically him and Jamal Murray matching 50-point games back and forth. Yeah. I mean, but yet again, against the Lakers, I don't think anyone would pick them to be favored against the Lakers, to where it's like, I wonder if there will be a situation where it's like, will this team with Rudy Gobert on it? And yet again, with Conley, if he leaves at the end of this season, could there be a situation where they bring someone in and they find a way to make it work where obviously Mitchell's the leader of this team and they can bring in another guy like they did with Conley via trade, but still brought him in max player. They bring in a guy to be a max player. Yet again, can they get someone to sign there, though? That's the thing. We're talking about small market. I understand why they did it. I just look at it and I go, how is this going to play out down the road? Because like with the Jazz, I feel like if I'm going to look into my crystal ball, I see a team that will be good enough to be like in the playoff hunt. They're not going to be bad and like fall out. They may give a good first round, even a second round, but like, do they have enough or can they add enough to put them over the hump of a like LA Lakers team who's right now them, if the Clippers bounce back, the Warriors right now, you're watching them against Brooklyn. They don't look like the Warriors as of right now. But like, can they match up with those teams? And also, does a team like Dallas or a team like Denver overpass them and get better quicker? And that's like, great, now we have to deal with Dallas and Denver.
Dallas is a team where injuries hampered them. Like I said, all you got to do is get there and be healthy and then see what opportunity comes your way. That's the Jazz plan. I mean, as far as their future is concerned, hey, they've got their two biggest pieces locked up. Like you said, Conley will be a toss-up, but they got Clarkson off the bench with Ingles. Like, they feel really good about this core.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a matter of, like, matchup-wise, who's healthy, who's not, who's on fire. Can Donovan Mitchell be a Super Saiyan, like you said? I don't know. I don't see any other options for them. It's not like there's a path to build them into a champion. They added Derek Favors back, which I think was a good move. Added some more strength, some more size to that team, so they can match up better against the teams with two bigs like the Lakers, and like the Clippers will have now with Serge Ibaka out there. But I just think this is a handcuff move. Had to do it. Didn't have a choice. No better trade options were out there. Trust me, I'm sure they explored trading Rudy Gobert.
And I will ask this. It's just because he got this deal, you kind of alluded to it. Just because he got this deal doesn't mean he can't be traded in the future.
Correct.
This could be a Blake Griffin. Like, in 2 years, we could look at this as like a Blake Griffin situation of, like, I'm not saying they're like top 10 in the draft and are looking to shop Gobert, but hey, we got to retool things. Hey, he's got 2 years left. We can shop him to a team that might want him, and we can take their player with maybe 1 year and a player option left who can help us win a championship.
Yeah. No, I think that's, again, and everybody's freaking out over the size of the contract. Like, just be aware, the NBA will continue to grow contract sizes. Like, this is
I think it's 4 and a player op, right? The 5th year, I think, is a player op. Spot Rack only had the first 4 years down.
Yeah, 5-year contract extension includes player option in 2025.
Yeah, so 4 plus 1 is basically what he got. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Jazz, because I mean, obviously right now it's actually good. It's good from what he said, though, like that, hey, they believe in me, they believe what we're building. If you're in Utah, you might be sitting there going, hey, let's just run it back and let's try to be healthy. Like Dave mentioned, the other contracts we'll kind of move into, we've got 2 sections that kind of group guys together. And the first one, Dave, this one seemed like one you were excited about because it groups 3 guys together. Toronto gave OG Anunoby a 4-year, $72 million extension that was really a 3+1, had a player option for the 4th year. You had the Orlando Magic give a 3-year deal, 3-year, $50 million to Markelle Fultz, coming off of his rookie deal. And then Kyle Kuzma, I have to scroll a little bit, he got a 3-year deal, $40 million with a player op. So you've got 3+1 for Anunoby, a 3-year straight at $50 million for Fultz, and then a 2+1 for Kyle Kuzma that's valued at $40 million. The way you kind of stress this, Dave, is like, which one of these are good deals, which are bad deals. You were kind of throwing it out as the fuck one, marry one, kill one. What are you doing, Dave?
It does work that way. I mean, like, as far as these contract deals are concerned, I do wonder, like, everybody wants to be a winner or loser in this. That's just traditional NBA, and everybody wants to feel like they got the best deal out of it. So
yeah,
I just want to say, like, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, like, it's all speculation. So let me just open with, it's all speculation, guys. Don't worry about who did what yet, because it doesn't actually matter. But if you are going to rank these as far as who deserved it the most so far, like, I think OG Anunoby's deal is interesting because it's the one of the lower values in here. And I think a lot of people have a very high opinion of him. So it just turns into the, like, okay, well, clearly, if he takes a step forward offensively, he can be an absolute star, but ain't on a great deal. But at the same time, people are like, well, Kuzma, puts up good stats, and they had to do it because obviously they're a team who is over the cap. Yeah. So it was like, might as well lock him in. Well, we got the chance. I do expect the one that I'm most excited for, and I think the one that's most controversial, though, is obviously Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most interested in.
He is definitely the guy who is just like, everybody wants to say, hey, this guy is going to be a bust. He's got the label. He's got the I didn't shoot for how long. He's got the, like, well, there was a condition eventually diagnosed for what happened to his shoulder, but we don't know actually what happened to, how much of it was mental, how much was physical. A lot of people make that argument. Point is, we saw his first real full season of play. He looked really good. And I think that people are overlooking the fact that like he's still a super young person and he will continue to grow his game. So again, decent shooter, growing. I'll say growing shooter. He's not quite the level he was in college, but like he's getting back there. And then he's gotten to the point where he's just a silky smooth passer. He can get to the lane. Like there's huge upside. I think that he's the guy who in 3 years you're like, wow, we still got Markkanen on a great deal. Or even in 2 years, we got Markkanen on a good deal because he has a 2-1 basically. So I think that third year is a team up actually.
Is it?
If I read that right.
Let me see. I'm looking at the contract. It is not. It's a straight 3-year deal.
Oh.
So the way
I heard team up.
The way that Woj had it in his was a 3-year deal for $50 million. Spot Rack also has it as a 3-year no player up yet because Woj has it down as Markelle Fultz agreed to a 3-year $50 million extension with Orlando, and then he said long journey for Fultz, the former number 1 overall pick, to a $50 million rookie extension with the Magic. Orlando has been thrilled with his progress there, and he's become a key part of the team's future.
All right.
So it looks like that's the thing. Kuzma got a 2+1. Kuzma, it's hey, that third year is a player option. Like
Kuz has a player op. Okay.
To me, it's the Markelle Fultz one was interesting because like I had a feeling Orlando liked him because of like you said, we're watching him play and we're like, shit, he's actually doing pretty good out there. Like not what we expected early on. But like it's also like the Magic to me seemed like a team where they could take a roll of the dice here on a Fultz because they don't have any. And Jonathan Isaac we're gonna bring up in the next group. Him and Kennard we're gonna take a look at because theirs are kind of linked with injury and stuff. But like you look at the team, Cole Anthony who they just drafted, they're not gonna have to deal with that contract for 5 years, basically 4. With that 5th year being the year that's up. They really, besides that, don't have any young players except for like, Chuma Okeke, who, yet again, 4 years down the line, he'll be up. So you've got time to where it's like like I said, they don't have anyone where it's like, man, we really have to worry about giving this guy a max contract. They can give Fultz 3 years. They can line it up with the other youth on their contract. And if it doesn't work, fuck it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, and again, I love Fultz. I will not give up on him yet. Like, hell, he's got such a smooth game, and like the way he functions in their offense, I think he really found his own. Like everybody points at the shooting stats, but in the bubble, I think he shot above like 35% from 3. So, and again, it's a smaller sample size. There was one playoff series, and obviously the 8 games prior, so like 15 games. It's like a quarter of the season. I mean, again, I'm not gonna put too much stock in things, but like I think he is on the right track to be becoming an above average starter in the NBA. But people just want to get upset about him. And I think expecting OG Anunoby to take a step forward offensively is as big of an ask as it is to say that like Markelle Fultz will take a step forward from his 3-point shooting. Like I think both are big asks of these guys to get more consistent on that offensive end. So, like, when I look at these, like, people are like, oh, it's a great deal here, but a shit deal here. I'm like, not really. I think they're both, about even in my mind. The Kuzma one, to me, is like, that feels like my arm got twisted because I don't think he's worth that deal.
No,
that to me is the worst deal out of all these. That felt like we're signing him so he can match his contract when we trade him in a year.
Bingo. I see the same thing because,
Okay.
because I fucking despise Kyle Kuzma. I will say that. Like, has nothing to do with him as a person. It has everything to do with I feel like he rode LeBron's coattail to this finals, and like everything I saw afterwards, like he put out a tweet where it was like I was this, where people even were like, you didn't get any D1 offers, but you fucking obviously you did. Like they went back and let's look at the receipts guy, and it's also a thing of like the whole thing. It's like things he's listening off. It's like the only reason you got there was because LeBron was on your team, because the Lakers decided to keep you and not send you to New Orleans. So like for me, this was just the Lakers going, hey, some team is going to want him. We have LeBron and AD locked down. We are going to have to use him in a deal. We're going to get that deal done within 2 years. Let's give him a 2+1, because if we don't trade him next year or trade him this year, trade him next year, a team can go, well, hey, if we're locked down, it's only a 2-year commitment, and they don't have to spend a ton of time on Kuzma, who, is he really that? Like, he's got potential, but it's
Problem
like...
is he's not bad, but he's already 23?
25.
25?
25.
He's old. Like,
Yeah,
that's...
25.
He's in his prime, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I like Kuz, and I think he's a volume shooter on a bad team, and on the Lakers, he's just a... Yeah, old man 25. You heard me. You heard me.
Old man 25. Coming from the big 31-year-old.
Yeah, I can call him. As far as NBA development timelines are, 25 is you are who you are.
Yeah.
He's a bad defensive player. He can chuck from, the offensive end. I don't know that, outside of a bad team where he just gets a ton of volume, he'd be a very good player. He's almost like the new school Julius Randle.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
put up stats on a bad team. For
me, I'm just thinking of the whole, like the analogy you made of the clean version is love it, like it, hate it. The fuck one, marry one, kill one, where it's like marry you love, fuck it, you like it. And then obviously kill you hate it. The Kuzma deal, I'm killing. I hate that deal. Grandpa Dave, back in my day, players in primes were in their 30s. I think out of the two, OG and Markelle, like, you brought up the OG one, and I just want to go back to that for a second, because the Toronto Raptors are also a team where they gave Siakam his max. He's locked down. They gave fucking Fred VanVleet his contract. He's locked down. Other than that, it's like Kyle Lowry, you're not going to give him a huge contract, right? After this year,
like, you might get a sweetheart deal, but I think you might deal, play for a championship.
Good point.
And that's the problem. Like, they're not quite there anymore. Like, I think last year was their last year of competing for a championship for a little bit of time.
Like, who else on this team is going to be like, oh shit, we have to pay them? Nobody.
They got a little bit of time to work with, so
they can throw a deal. That's why I would say I like the OG deal. Love the Markelle deal.
Yeah, I mean, like, OG is an all NBA defender, like second team probably. He's got versatility. I loved him coming into the draft. I'm so glad that he went to a team that had great development. I think, the injury setback hurt him a little bit while he was playing and missing time there, but like, he's still a player who is offensively, like, he's best in small doses. He's not a guy who's going to carry an offense, which they're hoping Pascal would have been that guy. And, at times he can be, but he was missing. He was MIA in the playoffs. So, like, if OG's job is basically to be a defensive stopper and a couple shots a game kind of guy, like, is that worth, it's probably like similar to the Robert Covington kind of deals out there we're seeing. So I like that deal. I think that's appropriate. I think that one fits well. But the Markelle Fultz has the upside of, like, this kid still has that number 1 overall pick rub. Like, we've seen what Kelly can do when he's the number 1 player on a team. And if he can get all the way back, then that's absolutely a great deal. That's what I see.
I'm going to switch them. And the only reason I'm going to switch them is I'm going to say I like the Markelle deal, love the OG and Anunoby deal, is because of the player op. It's weird. The more you mentioned it, Dave, it's weird that the Magic didn't put like a 3+1 on it.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I was like, wait a second, they didn't do that.
Because like, there's a part of me that likes that more though for the OG deal, because if he pans out, you have that extra year of like. Now, yet again, it's a player option, not a team option. OG could say, "Fuck it, I want more money." After 3 years, if he balls out. And maybe the Magic expect that. They expect Fultz to ball out to where it's like, we could have offered it, but like, we're going to have to offer him a contract anyways. Like, that's the main thing. I think we're both in agreement so that the Kuzma deal, not so hot, and that, yet again,
least deserving, but I understand it. I think if you just put in the context of he's likely the first person who other teams would be able to trade for.
Yeah.
Oh, motherfucker.
I get you. What?
Sorry,
what
Kyrie Irving fell into some his legs, and it did not look great. But everybody's good. Everybody's good.
Okay.
Live reaction.
Dave's gonna break a Gordon Hayward type of injury today on the show, watching these games. But the next two contracts we'll get into is Luke Kennard, Soapy's boy, who Soapy is still upset got traded to the Clippers via the Detroit Pistons. We also have Jonathan Isaac. So Isaac, who is missing this year, 4-year deal, no player op, Dave. 4-year deal, $80 million with the Orlando Magic. That kind of also piggybacks onto the Fultz deal, while I like it, where it's like Isaac was the only one you would need to give a deal to. You give them deals at the same time. Luke Kennard and the Clippers is a 4-year deal, no player op, for $64 million. Woj, though, goes into explanation and says the deal includes $56 million in guaranteed money, so 56 of the 64 is guaranteed, with a majority of the additional $8 million in incentives considered reachable. Mintz and Span say, and Mintz and Span are his agents at CAA Sports.
Not familiar.
So what do you think about the Kennard Isaac extensions? Because these are both guys. Isaac's out for most of this year, if not the whole year, with his injury that he had late, and Kennard also has an injury history.
Yeah. So Isaac's had a bunch of like ankle, foot issues in the past. This, unfortunately, in the bubble, like literally right out of the gates, it was the ACL.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And then Kennard he's basically got a knee condition where they're just going to keep not being great. So it's like, all right, this guy, when he's healthy, he did have a career year last year. He did look like that kind of combo guard who can create for himself, create for others, move the ball on offense, and still get his own. So, like, I think you have to hope for the upside with these guys. Like, Isaac, fantastic defender. Like, he looks like he would be the key to success for that Magic team. Like, they are, like, Vucevic is their all-star right now, but, like, the way this team is going to compete for a championship is around Markelle Fultz, Isaac, and maybe a Cole Anthony, maybe Chuma. Like, that next group will come up as Vucevic's role can hopefully shrink down, which it's not anything against him. It's just, like, he needs to not be dependent on for everything. Like, he carries his team right now, and it's not fair to him. So I think as the other guys get better, like, the way they can compete for a championship is by having Isaac hit his potential. And he is so good defensively. He can guard, like, 3 through 5 and just long arms, very aware of what's going on as far as being a team defender. And his offensive game had shown some hints of being, you know, maybe there's a little something there. Maybe he can be something special. But I think that one, you had to give him the deal. It's the don't care about this season, rehab, take your time. We're not in a position where we have to win right now. Yeah. We see what's going on in the East right now. We see what the Nets are doing to everybody. Like, just take care of you. Kennard, on the other hand, that one's the interesting one to me.
They had to do it, though. Like, this is a Kuzma-like thing for me where arm tied behind your back because, A, you traded for him. You got to lock him down. You can't let him leave. And number 2, especially because of the questions about is Kawhi going to stay after this season. If Kawhi leaves, now they can say at least we have PG and Kennard to build going forward because they have no picks. They have no picks, Dave.
They currently have no picks. They do have next year's because of the rule.
Yeah.
They could trade the pick, you know. But I think the expectation for Kennard, I guess you're right. The whole Kawhi leaving does throw a bone in everything. Like, I don't know what that situation will be like. But yeah, if Kennard's healthy, the deal's worth it. Like, he's a very good player. And I think, like, he can kind of be, and again, I'm going to get lazy comped for this. He can be what Tyler Hero was to the Heat last year for this Clippers team and be someone who can ball handle, step into like a closeout lineup and be a high-level contributor. He's not necessarily going to be as hot as Tyler Hero gets. Like, I don't think he's got that to him, but he's a very good player. He's probably overlooked because he played a lot of time on a very bad Detroit team and, you know, weren't watching. That's fair, but, like, that's fair.
I mean, I just look at it and I go, like, the question we're asking for those of you who might not be watching the full thing, just a little video we're putting on YouTube, like, I don't think either of these are dumb. Like, I know we're asking, like, were the Clippers and Magic smart to extend these guys because of injuries? What'd you say?
I think, yeah, both deals are smart. The Kennard one gives me more concern. Like, Isaac in the ACL, I'm like, okay. Guys that are coming back from ACLs
I don't
normally.
even... ACLs are now like a whatever to me. Like, the way guys have come back from them in all sports, it's like medicine has advanced far enough to where it's no longer a career killer.
I'm with you. But Luke Kennard's knees is my concern. That is the one where it's
because once they're gone, and you need knees to play basketball. Just look at Greg Oden. Greg Oden he also had a thing where one leg was longer than the other, right? Greg Oden.
That fucking yeah. That was a lot of problems. So again, I don't know what's gonna happen, but right now everything has been like, it's called, I think, bilateral knee tendonitis. But I think everybody's saying like, hey, right now he's healthy, right now he's banging. This will be a problem when you're 30, more so. Like if you can control it and control the inflammation and be able to, use your health wisely, kind of thing, as far as time, then he should be fine through this contract. But it's like one injury away from being terrible. The Isaac one, I think you have that range to miss, because if Isaac is never the player he was before, you guys are still almost in the same position. Like, they're a team, like I said, where they're not competing for a championship right now. They're in a rebuilding team. So if you can lock him up, and you're paying for the year of an injury, but like, hey, we could get a fantastic guy who's going to blow people out of the water when he comes back for 2 years on a really cheap deal instead of having to overpay him, I was
going to say, are they paying for an injury? I mean, the injury year is basically this, like, 7.3 though. So like, at least it's only 7.3 and not paying like 17.8 million for an injury year.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but like, they even got a chance of, like, let's say he comes back, then it becomes like next year maybe we see maybe they shop the Aaron Gordon deal and move him, because yet again, the Magic to me are a team, they don't need to be good.
I'm with you. Yeah.
They don't. They can take all the swings in the world. Also, because like, this injury for Jonathan Isaac could be a blessing in disguise for the Magic, because it may give Chuma Okeke more time to play, someone who's coming off of an injury, so that basically it's like, get him more time to basically become himself after an injury, so that it's like Jonathan Isaac and him, when they're together, okay, now we can just fit you two together and feel how you're going to fit in a rotation, rather than, great, we got to get you time. Yeah. So it's like the Magic, like, I haven't hated anything the Magic.
I actually think this is one of their best off seasons ever. They addressed the point guard position depth. Yep. They went out and got somebody young instead of sticking with DJ Augustine for the 17th fucking season. We get it. He's not bad, but he's not good either.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one. Years of the Magic should draft a point guard.
They got Cole Anthony. It's okay. They got Cole Anthony.
Good. He's looked good so far in preseason, so I'm happy for him. But yeah, I think the Magic, these signings were great. The Kennard one, under the context of if he's healthy, and plus because of the Kawhi situation and needing movable contracts, totally cool with that for the future.
I forget this all the time, because in Twitch chat we got only Elijah Wan, who I believe is Chainsaw in Discord. Just wait, Chainsaw. We'll feed you, baby bird. We'll feed you. We'll be talking Lauri in a second. But before we do, Dave, let's break things up. Let's talk about Wet Boys. Dampest of dudes, soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, sometimes the mistiest of misses. I have a feeling like KD might be Dave's Wet Boy tomorrow. We got one more game to go, but I feel like the way Dave's been talking about this Nets team, KD, spoiler alert, may be Dave's Wet Boy.
It may just be tomorrow. Maybe.
It may be, but we actually got NBA Wet Boys back tomorrow. Today we do not. However, these are our players of the day from the previous day. If you're not familiar with what Wet Boy, if you're looking and you're going, what the fuck is a Wet Boy? It's a player of the day. Sometimes they're a misty miss. That's just how it rolls. But how it goes is Dave gives a Wet Boy, I give a Wet Boy. The patrons at patreon.com/MVP vid silver and above get to vote daily for who should be the patron Wet Boy of the day. So we got 3 for you today, December 22nd, 2020. Dave, handing it off to you. Who's your Wet Boy?
I had to go with one of the best shooters in college basketball today, a man who will for sure be taken in the top 20 of the NBA draft this year. Corey Kispert. And I want to say Crispert.
Yeah, I do too. I do too all the time.
Kispert.
Put it in the Crispert.
He's just such a fantastic shooter. Gonzaga beat the shit out of a no-name team because that's what they do. Business as usual. But it's the fact that it is business as usual is what is so impressive about him. He is just a pure shooter through and through. You can see the 0 turnover. Ricky and I kind of joked about he doesn't really have a third stat. He didn't make an assist that game. Didn't have any blocks, no steals. He's just there to knock down and get you buckets. He is like Davis Bertrand's kind of style. He's just there to score. He doesn't care about anything else. He's very good at it. So I look forward to seeing him at the next level. I think Gonzaga is just pumping out talent, and they look like such a good team right now. So college basketball, phenomenal right now at the top end when they are playing.
So before I give my wet boy, do you want to hear something interesting? Today was the Idaho Potato Bowl
Nice.
between Tulane and Nevada. Nevada won 38-27. Nevada got flagged, though, because they gave their coach a fry bath. So instead of the Gatorade bath, they dumped a bucket of fries on him and apparently got flagged for it. I can't wait to watch that video yesterday. I can't wait to watch it after the show. It popped up on my ESPN. It's like, how the fuck do you get flagged? I'm like, a fry bath? And I'm like, it's the Idaho Potato Bowl. Of course there are fries there.
I would do a fry bath. That sounds great.
Do you eat them, though? Do you try to, hey, guys, let me turn around and let me catch them in my mouth? Are you picking some up off the ground, 5-second rule, trying to eat some of them?
Quality. Are we talking Five Guys fries here? Are we talking McDonald's fries?
Whatever fries you want, Dave. They look like McDonald's fries, that kind of cut.
Whatever I catch, I would eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not eating off the ground, if they're Five Guys Cajun fries, I might eat them off the ground.
Might eat them off the ground. Here's a question, though, Dave. We talked about fries. I'm going to ask you this. Where would you rank the Arby's? This was a watch-along thing. We talked about this. McDonald's fries are the GOAT. We said Wendy's nuggets are the GOAT. The McDonald's fries, are Arby's fries better than Five Guys fries? That's the question. I say Five Guys fries over the curly. Just because they're curly doesn't mean they're better, even though curly fries are good.
Fries overrated nowadays. I hate to say it. They're not number one anymore. To me, Cajun fries from Five Guys is my number one. I'd put curly at 2.
Okay.
3.
What if it was normal? If you couldn't do Cajun, would it be curly over the normal from Five Guys?
It's the flavor. It's a little bit extra.
It's the cut. It's the kind of cut too.
Yeah, I would probably go curly one if I'm going plain fries. But they don't have plain fries at Arby's. I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta have that. You gotta have the beef and cheddar with the curly fries. But back to wet boys. Mine, Dave. He's from a little school called Appalachian State. It's Cameron Peoples. 5 touchdowns in the game. The first bowl game that we get. Kicked the ever-living shit out of the Green Mean from North Texas. I've been to North Texas. Really good band room. Unless they've changed it in the last, that would have been, we went to Texas when I was 16. So, yeah, it's been about 14 years since I've been to the band room at North Texas. Real great facilities out there. The Mean Green out there. But, yeah, Peoples, 5 touchdowns in the game. Absolutely carried his team to a 56-28 victory over North Texas. Got to give love when running backs go off like that, and like he did. Najee Harris had a game for Saturday. People's having a game for this one. And Dave, the last card for the patrons is very, very special because there was one reason why this man was voted. And Dave, I know you got the one guy in your fantasy team. You might not be happy to see this, but the exact quote was Von Bell's getting a wet boy because he made Juju his bitch last night. Steelers with the loss, Bungles with the win. The Steelers are dead, Dave. They're dead. They joined the Raiders. They're dead.
I watched that video of Juju dance into Von Bell hit. Juju dance into Von Bell hit over and over and over and over. It was addictive to watch, and it just felt good. Everybody's like, maybe Juju, you should stop dancing on people's logos. Your team's not doing so well right now. You're not doing so well right now. Maybe just calm it down a little bit.
Calm it down now, bro. Calm it down.
Instead, he's out there dancing on more logos. And then guess what? Business. Mm-hmm. Business happens. I'm excited for this one because I hope he learns a lesson. And if he doesn't, I'm even more excited to see what happens next week.
Oh,
because like there's a chance that hit was bad. Like you remember the first hit that Reggie Bush took in the NFL?
Yeah.
Where he was on a swing pass and just got massacred. He got turned inside out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to happen to him if he does it again.
That was not good, Dave.
I'm all for entertainment. But like and I hate to say this, but like if there's one team that's gonna hit somebody dirty on the defensive end or on the defensive side, it is the Bengals. They do kind of have a reputation for it.
Yeah, I mean, Burfict's still on that team, right?
I don't even know, man.
Montez Burfict is still on that team, right? But yeah, the fucking like I can't believe. Also, you cracked me up today because you had me check out the Pat McAfee show when they're talking about Big Ben. Like, is the problem is he's not jerking off anymore? He doesn't have that arm strength, Dave? Doesn't have the arm strength?
He did a 10-minute segment on Big Ben masturbation issues, causing the Steelers to lose games.
I love how they went into he might be a man of God right now. Like him and Jesus might be too tight for him to get back into it. And then it's like, he can start up, kid. He can just kick the habit again. Like, it's okay.
If you're go watch that 10-minute segment, it's hilarious. It's wonderful, and you can't not laugh. Basically,
fucking phenomenal. But Dave, we will jump in. Chainsaw was asking about it in Twitch before we did Wet Boys. We are going to talk Lauri Markkanen because both Dave and I are Bulls fans. No way a Bulls topic is going to go by, and both Dave and I are going to not look at it. But yeah, no contract extension for Lauri Markkanen, which I will say I kind of expected. Only because Lauri Markkanen coming off of a not-so-good year. There's a lot of questions about Lauri and what he is going to do this year. I don't know about you, Dave. I'm fine with the no contract from Lauri Markkanen. Let him prove it this year, and if he plays good enough, we can treat it like we treated Zach when Zach was going into his RFA year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... He's been so hit or miss that it's frustrating to, I think, him and all the fans in Chicago, because we all expected him, like, he had a fantastic first year. And it was like, wow, this guy is going to be our, he's a for the future.
Also had a pretty good coach that first year, just going to say. Coach that maybe fit his style.
Yeah. Modern day 4, and he got better per year. And then he took a massive step backwards. Like, we just decided that his game no longer had a mid-range, and that's where Lauri did a lot of cooking. So I think being hampered by horrible coaching is one problem, but the question is now that we're trying to get him back to who we thought he could be, is he still capable of doing that? Like, or is he just broken? Because, again, everybody says he's too soft to be a big in the NBA. He doesn't fight for rebounds. He has put on strength. We did see the workout videos from last year where the dude was yoked up on maybe HGH, maybe not going to say it. But like, he has so much potential as a good 3-point shooting big, just a scoring big in general. It's just, do you think he'll ever get back to that point?
I think there's a possibility. Like, I'm not going to say yes or no. I think there's a possibility.
If you ask me for percentages, I would say like 60-40, no.
Like, so also you got to understand this, like the Bulls it was one of those where when we drafted Lauri Markkanen, yet again, the Bull, like, you got to understand where we were as a Bulls franchise too. Like, how we got Lauri was the Jimmy Butler trade, and we had one of the worst seasons I've ever had as a Bulls fan, where yes, we made the playoffs. Yes, if Rondo didn't get injured, we beat the Boston Celtics. Pat Hill, you're going to hear about it again. But I mean, to me, I hated that season because of all the drama it fucking came from. Like, D Wade was like a fucking shot of drama into this team. Made me hate Jimmy. He made me hate Jimmy Butler, which would never fucking happen, and would actually make me defend Rajon Rondo, which I thought would never happen. I think of Rondo as a good guy. But I mean, I look at this and I go, we came off of that season. The year after was Lauri's first year. We finished 27-55. Expectations were not high, so maybe that was also a part of it. And like, the second year with Lauri was the year that Hoiberg was fired, and then Boylan came in. And like, the thing I honestly believe is that Jim Boylan, like, if Lauri Markkanen is never able to get back to what he was, I don't blame Lauri. I blame Jim Boylen. Jim Boylen then would have fucked up Lauri's career in my mind because of the hiccup in development for him. I don't know if the question this is Lauri going to be a Bull after this year? I don't know. I don't really know because I believe I'm going to go with my prediction. He's most improved player of the year. If that happens, then we would want to pay him, right? And keep him on this team? Or will it be now you've overplayed what we want to pay you, and now a team like, I'm going to throw out the Kings because they did the thing with Zach to us, where there could be a situation where Lauri maybe overplays and the team goes and AK goes, well, I don't want to pay you that much. So instead of when we match Zach, we're going to let you walk.
See, I think this is okay, let me ask this. What do you think the offer was that we made him? What was the best offer that the Bulls made him this offseason? Because they were negotiating. He
wanted 20, right? Was that the amount he wanted was 20 mil? Was that?
I'm not sure. That's why I was just looking for a clarification. Okay. So,
from what I thought I heard, and this was also in the Discord with the articles posted by Sam, was I thought he was asking for 20 mil, which, if that's the case, I would assume the Bulls would have came back with 15. Would 15 have been too high for Lauri?
It's right in that range. I mean, we just talked about all these other guys getting contracts for 16, 17, 18 million a year. The average starter in the NBA, average starting cost, I think it's right around that, 17 million area.
I know it was before AK, but Zach got 19 a year. 19 then 19.5 next year in his deal. There was no way he was going to get an Otto Porter type of contract, but Thad Young is making 13.5 for us.
Yeah.
So maybe it was lower than 15. Maybe AK came in and said, hey, based off of last year, your production just isn't worth it. Maybe that's it. Maybe the Bulls were from the start of this is our offer. And they might have, I don't want to say lowballed them, but lowballed them in his mind.
That's the problem is you offer him what he played like, or do you offer him what we wish he was? And I think
if I'm AK, play like. That's what I do.
I think it's here's what you earned. This is not a future thing. Here's what you've earned right now. And I think it was probably an offer around that 15 mil a year. Yeah. I think it might have been a 3-year, 15 mil per, 345 deal. And he was looking at more of a 360, 480, something in that range. I just don't know if he's worth it. And this is a situation where I'm really happy we have a new front office because there's no attachment. They did not draft him. They have no connection to him emotionally. This is new coach, new front office. They don't owe him anything. So it's very much if you play like this, we will give you this. It seems very fair. And I'm sure as a player, you want that guarantee of what if I get hurt this year? What happens to my career? I could lose out on millions. But to me, it just feels sorry, man. You had potential. You still have potential, but you haven't shown us. This new generation of front office is a new us. Haven't shown us that you can do it. So here's 15 mil as a low end starter, and if you play well, you can move it up to 20 mil. But we haven't seen an extending scale contract. Where it was you hit these performance incentives and you can up your contract by millions. It's here's your performance bonus for $800,000 for doing this, or for third team All NBA you can earn this kind of thing. But we haven't seen it where it will actually affect the contract. It's usually just a bonus,
So I want to ask you a question. Here's what I want to do. First off, Eric says this is the same as John Collins in Atlanta. When we talk about John Collins next, I will tell you why it's not. I don't think Lauri and John Collins are different situations to me. I will tell you why when we talk about John Collins. I want to ask you the question I was going to ask you, Dave, and then I want to dive into what Chainsaw put, because as a Bulls fan, that's something to fucking dive into. Question I want to ask you, though, is let's say Lauri wanted 20. It's kind of a double-edged question of, number one, if Lauri wants 20 million, what does he have to do this year? Is there a stat line he has to put out this year in order for you to be yes, you've earned that? Or are you thinking 20 mil right away is no, that's too much regardless? And what would be the highest that you would be that's the highest that Lauri can earn in an extension from us?
I mean, hey, if he's our number one this season, if for whatever reason, Kobe is only putting up like 15 a game, Zach's at 25 again, and Lauri does like 23. If he puts up 23 and 9, like it's very hard to give him. It's hard not to give him over $20 million at that point, because that is legitimately like you're near all-star levels. So yeah, you're worth 22 million probably at that point. Absolutely. I think he caps out around 25 million. I don't think that he earns 25 mil a year. I think that would take he would have to be an all-star. Preseason, what he's looked like, I think he's closer to the like 16, 17 mil kind of guy. But hey, if he puts up 20 and 9, 22 and 9, something like that on good efficiency, I'm all for giving him the money. I just don't, if somebody wants to come and try to take him away, I would probably see if we could match.
Okay.
I'm not 100% against it, but I think right now he's a $15 million player until we see otherwise.
And like Jake said, do y'all think Lauri is worth $16 million a year? Interesting. I do if he plays well. That's the thing of like, if you were asking me Lauri from his rookie sophomore year, I'd be like, yes. I think he's up to the trend. It's just the last year was the big year. And I am, like I said before, all for letting him prove it, letting him earn it. And if he has a most improved player of the year kind of a year, then let's fucking keep him. I have nothing against Lauri Markkanen. The thing I found interesting is Chainsaw or in Twitch. So Chainsaw on Discord, only Elijah on in Twitch, says the point where I'm at as a Bulls fan is shop everyone besides Patty Williams, Wendell, or Kobe. This team hasn't gotten better in the last 3 years. I don't care how well Zach has played. Look how bad we have been. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you. I hate the coach. We've only been bad because of Boylen. Yep. That's it. To me, Boylen was a fucking disgrace. And that was the nail in the coffin that got Garpax out of town. Because Boylen set us back. That is what it did. We are setting the reset button. You're right. But I don't think setting the reset button means getting rid of Zach. The thing I love about Zach, and yet again, people are divided on him, whether we should keep him, whether we should not. The thing I love about Zach is he's embraced Chicago. He is a leader. I want to keep that guy because all the other people in free agency, Chicago's a main market, but we almost got to treat ourselves like we're Utah and Dallas or Utah and Memphis because no one wants to come here. Name the last free agent we were able to get.
Carlos Boozer.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The big stars like LeBron will never want to come here because of the shadow of Jordan. And it's just that's the thing where Zach is already a leader. Let's hang on to him. Let's see what he can do with Billy Donovan. That's the thing. Let's not try to get rid of everything right away. Let's see how this year goes. Let's just do that.
Last year, can we well and truly blame on one man disgrace the coach or not? About 99% of it.
All of it.
About 99% of it.
Yeah, watching those games and then having to talk about it almost made me want to put a bullet in my head. Just saying. Yeah. Not literally. People are going to take that fucking serious. Ricky wants to put a bullet in his head. But figuratively, bullet in my head. That's what I wanted to do.
It's definitely been frustrating. Yeah. Again, he was the worst coach in the league, and he was perhaps the worst developer, or he was the best person to stunt talent. No offensive systems, defensively awful, locker room awful. There's nothing he did well. So I do think that you can blame that. And again, last year we were missing Otto Porter Jr. for the entirety of the year. So our biggest contract guy literally didn't play basketball for us for more than a handful of games. And he was coming off of an injury at that point even. So it wasn't great. I think this year is a make or break year for the team, and I think that Lauri has a chance to prove that he deserves to be a starting four at the NBA level and keep his job. But it's on him at this point. He has to earn that spot because I'm telling you, if Patrick Williams if we want to move Patrick Williams to the four, do it. Don't think, just do. Yeah, our best lineup, maybe Otto Porter and Patrick Williams on the floor at the same time, and that might mean Lauri on the bench. And I would not blink twice at that.
This year is a job interview for every player.
Yeah.
And I have no qualm saying that. It's a job interview.
I'm already trying to find the extension for Patrick Williams. That's just me. But yeah.
Are you? Is it?
It's so good.
I will ask this: is it bad that Bulls fans are so hyped that they're after 2 preseason games are like start them from day one?
No, I think it's because people on the outside
Hate
wanted
Otto
to
Porter
so much, and they kept putting the Bulls down for being a bad pick. We're like, no, we fucking love this guy now.
Yeah.
Like, we have to speak louder because so many haters are out there being like, you guys drafted a fucking backup.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you drafted a 6-man with the number 4 overall pick. And we're like, just you fucking wait. You'll see.
Yeah.
And the phrase Kawhi has been thrown on an awful lot in the last week.
People are comparing him to Kawhi? I never heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Dave's like, get that out of here. Like Otto Porter. I think it's also because a lot of people hate Otto Porter right now.
A lot of people hate Otto Porter. I think they're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but I also feel like that's kind of as well, where it's like, I mean, yet again, Otto Porter's any hate that Otto Porter's getting from Bulls fans, I kind of almost feel like he's done to himself with the whole the perception of not taking the injury last year as seriously as he should have. The whole yet again this year, the pandemic issue was its own issue. Of like, if you're going to be that much of an idiot, I'm gonna fucking judge you a little bit. While it takes all of us, Dave. It takes all of us.
Conspiracy. So how about you fucking slow down and if we're gonna call people out for their off the court stuff, like there are far more people who I hate a whole lot more.
Dave, it takes all of us. That's all I'm saying. It takes all of us. Got to continue that mantra.
Michael Porter Jr. Can you never say a good thing about him now?
For what?
About his basketball game because
of what? Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. He thinks the virus is fake. He thinks masks are like part of some government thing. Like,
I think he's an idiot.
He's all about that game.
Yeah, I think he's an idiot. That's what I would say. Like, if you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that it's all fake, you're an idiot. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Nah, not that guy.
The one thing that makes me happy though, and this will be the thing before we go into John Collins, it's not anything with the Bulls or anything, I'm glad that Adam Silver came out and said that NBA players are not going to jump the line for vaccines, because then guys like MPJ don't get it before people that need it, like the healthcare workers.
Just like, how would they have any power to do that? And then I say that out loud and I go, Donald Trump is our president. Yeah. Don't say things.
It's kind of like how people are mad at Pence, people are mad at Marco Rubio, Lindsey Graham, because downplaying the virus the whole time, and now they've jumped to the front of the line to get this vaccine.
Yeah, no arguments.
But not a politics show. We're a sports show. Let's move on, Dave. The other one Eric said that this was, when we're talking Lauri Markkanen, Eric mentioned that it's kind of like John Collins. I said I was going to start with this. To me, the John Collins no extension has nothing to do, or it's not even comparable to Lauri Markkanen. Here's why. The Lauri Markkanen no extension is, we're not going to give you an extension. You have to earn your deal right now. Earn it this year. Yep. The John Collins deal is telling me, we don't want to extend you. We're going to trade you this year. We'll let another team extend you. That's what it's telling me, because like you brought up before the show, Dave, if they would have extended him now, there would have been a period where they could not trade him, which would have probably overlapped with that March 21st deadline with how the season scheduling this year. So for me, that's why I think they're different. Bulls, play for your contract. Hawks, no, we're looking to deal you because we want to make this team better and bring in a piece that is going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, like Olajuwon, you're correct. He has been getting better year over year. Like John Collins, he, for someone who came in with a limited defensive game, he's worked harder to get better at it. His shot is great. Offensively, he's excellent. Defensively, he's trying to be less of a negative. That's all you can ask for, is just be less negative.
Yeah.
On that end of the court. He's absolutely worth a big deal. Like the deal that Christian Wood got, I mean, he deserves more than Christian Wood. Christian Wood had, 25 good games. So I think it just comes down to the fact that, hey, we're looking for the talent, or the money, I should say. They're looking for the money to be spent at a different position. And that's all it is. Like John Collins, there are other teams around the league who would love to have someone who is as good as John Collins. Yep. The question is what do the Hawks think his value is? Because he is going to be an in-demand young star who can put up 20 and 10 any given night. Like, he's a walking double-double. And great offensive player. He could be your number 2, could be your number 3 even, and have good efficiency out there. So like this, I'm with you. This was not a basketball decision. This was a contract team, whatever strategy, bullshit kind of a deal.
So the thing I want to ask you is, because Spot Rack, what they have isn't necessarily where the player's going to play. It could just be the position he's listed. Are you playing Danilo at the 4?
Yeah, he can't defend threes.
Okay, I'm just asking. Like, I wanted to make sure before I say something that it's they
can play him at the 3, and then they're going to get torched at the 3 and the 4. Like, the Hawks can do whatever they want with their lineup. So, yes, Danilo has been playing 4 primarily in the last couple of years, but in theory, sure, he could play the 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you answered it that way, because for me, it's like I had a feeling about this draft night that the Hawks were going to move Collins, because, like Eric brings up, John Collins didn't get an extension because they signed Gallinari. Yeah, they have Gallinari, but they also drafted Onyeka Okongwu, and you kind of, I can't remember if this was on the show or off the show, Dave. You kind of asked me Onyeka, is he going to be a 4 or a 5? Our biggest thing, and yet again, it depends on if he yokes up, hits the weight room, and builds some muscle. The only way he's playing the 5 is if he bulks up and gets stronger. Because
fine. He's 19 years old.
Yeah.
I think everybody can be outside of Zion Williamson has been told they need to add some weight and mass.
Yeah. Like right now, he's playing the 4, which means you have a logjam at 4. You're gonna want Onyeka to get minutes off the bench. You have Gallinari out there at the 4. John Collins, to me, like, you want to bring someone else in. I would say you'd want to bring, like, package a John Collins and a Kevin Huerter to bring in a star that maybe is going to play the 2 for you, or the 3. A wing.
Say the name. Just drop the name so we can have that conversation.
What, James Harden? Is that who you wanted me to say?
Yeah, I know you got the trade worked up, so let's hear it.
I don't have a trade work up, actually. What? Do you want me to? Yeah, I can work one up for you.
Without a doubt. I was like, man, and leading this conversation, John Collins is
No, I wasn't.
James Harden. Like,
is Harden the first? I'll ask this: is Harden the first sure guy that they need to get? Like, or is there another one?
Okay.
Or is there Buddy Hield is another one? Do they need to?
You can't get Buddy Hield. They have Bogdanovich. What are you trying to do? Try to fight here?
That's right. They did just come from the same teams.
Yeah, you can't do that. Can't do that,
man. But fucking Young and Healed would be. Do y'all like defense? They got Rondo for defense. They got Rondo and Hunter for defense. They don't need Heald and Chris Dunn, baby, the real KD for defense. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I didn't throw out Harden only because it's like, are there other players that John Collins? And honestly, like, would the Rockets want to trade for John Collins because they brought in Christian Wood?
That's the problem. Like.
Or would it be a 3-team deal?
They went relatively young is Christian Wood that they have hopes for the future. So it doesn't line up perfectly, and that turns into like, okay, does this make it into a 3-team deal? Like, it just gets more convoluted as you go. But you do see that it's kind of lining up. I almost wonder. I mean, do we go over to the DeMar DeRozan? Do we reshuffle the embers of that conversation where we thought DeRozan to the Hawks was something that was interest? There's interest on both sides. I think that one would be very interesting to see. Obviously, Harden's a better player, but DeRozan might be who they can get. So I don't know if I would trade a very young John Collins for a end of his prime DeMar DeRozan. He did just come off his best true shooting year, though he is playing extremely good basketball. But there's only a couple years left of that. So,
all right, you've got the wheels turning, Dave.
All right, cool.
I'm coming up with a 3-team deal. So that's the thing I'm working on right now. I will throw this out so you and Twitch chat can kind of talk about it. It will be a 3-team deal between the Rockets, Hawks, and Kings.
Oh, okay. Rockets, Hawks, and Kings. I don't know where that's going. I don't know how the Kings are involved here. We'll find out.
Well, but that's the thing. Does a 3rd team need to be involved for John Collins? That's the thing.
Yeah, they do. A 3rd team does need to be involved. I was just trying to find a team who needs a 4, and I think the Kings have several of them. But we'll see where you end up with this one. I'm curious to see. But you were saying about them, having a log jam at the 4. I think that, John Collins is a backup 5 or as your Onyeka Okongwu being your backup 5 is likely what's going to happen. Like Collins, we've seen play small ball 5 for them, and it worked out to varying degrees of success. But like, I would love to see that together before I make a decision. Like, how's Onyeka play at the 5 with Collins, or 4-5 tandem those guys with Gallo? Like, let's see what happens, because Clint Capella, like, I think he's just kind of forgotten about aftermath from this whole thing. He's still under contract for a couple of years. I mean, I don't think anybody's super attached to him, but like, he's not a bad player. He's one of the best pick and rollers in the NBA. Like, should we be more? Should we weigh that more onto everything? But I don't know.
I mean, the thing I'm running into a problem here, though, and this is the main problem of the James Harden deal. If you want James Harden, is he's $41 million. Wait, I may have. I think I may have worked something out. Wait a second.
What team needs a power forward? I'm playing that game.
Let's see. I'm just gonna turn off
Which team needs a power?
I'm gonna turn off like the recently signed shit, because
Minnesota
this trade would obviously be done.
Minnesota does have a lot of pieces on their team. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. The problem is they don't have like a good vet. Like, that's the problem, is you try to find like, okay, we got a power forward with John Collins who has great value in the league. Is there a vet who fits the Hawks better that's close to equal value? Boston would love to have someone like John Collins, but they don't have any vets who they would be willing to trade for him. I don't think the Nets have capital to do that.
Has Tony Snell not taken his player option?
I haven't heard Tony Snell's name in a while. I'll be honest. I don't know what his contract is.
I have a deal here kind of worked out.
Okay.
So there's one thing where it says, I got to remove 1.5 from the Rockets, where we can send him to the Kings. They're not getting a lot of fucking contract in this.
I mean, the Pacers would be interesting if you think that John Collins play next to DeMontis Sabonis.
I thought about them with Miles Turner.
Yeah, you got the Miles Turner Sabonis issue, and then you got Victor Oladipo, who could be returned to you. Like, Vic next to Trae Young would actually be insanely good if you could find a way to make that work. Like, there's a handful of these teams but there's not many whose situation might have a lineup. Clippers would love to have him, but they got no one they can trade for him because they did just Forrest and Kennard. The value, they'd have to go what? Lou Will and Pat Bev, and they have no point guards then? Like, they got nothing. I mean, it's a good thought, but
throw picks where you want.
Okay,
picks are wherever they go. Hawks get James Harden. That's all they get. They get James Harden. The Kings are going to get John Collins, and who would I even throw in here? No, it's not showing the full name. It's just some Rockets player that.
Some Rockets player.
I'm pulling up. Oh, Caboclo, Bruno.
Oh, Bruno. Okay.
Didn't recognize the face. So they get Bruno and John Collins. The Kings get. Rockets get Buddy Hield. So basically, it revolves around Hield to the Rockets, Harden to the Hawks, Collins to the Kings. Because we talked in our mock draft about the Kings. We both had them going with a 4. Spoiler, won't tell you.
Well, did we really both have them with a 4?
Yeah, we did.
What did I get?
We did.
I don't want to say
because Bagley's the only one. We talked about Bagley.
It could be a 3. No, he could be a 3.
Okay. I was thinking more of a 4. That's why, because Bagley's the only one that'll be under contract after this year, so they'll have Collins give an extension to. But the Rockets get Buddy Hield, Tony Snell, and then DeAndre Hunter in the deal. So the Hawks have to give up John Collins, Snell, and Hunter to get Harden, and the Rockets will get Buddy Hield while giving up Bruno Caboclo and Harden.
I mean, yeah, you'd have to throw in a lot of fucking picks every which way, but yeah, I think that
I thought about Cleveland though too, because would Cleveland want to send not move on from Sexton? I was thinking K-Love. K-Love goes to Houston. Harden goes to the Hawks. Collins goes to the Cavs. You bounce Wood between the 4 and the 5, and you could run lineups of like K-Love out there with Boogie, but also like Wood when Boogie leaves after this year. you can then take Wood, bounce him to the 5, and he could be your 5.
I don't like that either.
I didn't like it either. That's why I didn't go with it.
We'll have to give a deeper thought for another day, I think, as the James Harden saga continues. But at the end of the day, I think we're both on the same page as far as John Collins was not re-signed because the plan is to trade him. If they re-signed him, you couldn't trade him in time. This keeps the market open, but it does keep him on a rookie deal, which is interesting for a lot of teams out there. So it could mean some potential for potential moves out there could happen.
Is he an RFA at the end of the year?
Yes. He should be.
Okay.
Because he's on a rookie deal. So.
Is there so basically because they own his rights, any team that offers him, they could match and go over the cap, right?
Yeah, once they're traded to him, yeah. Oh, you mean if they don't trade him?
If they don't trade him, could they wait for another team to offer and then basically like we're matching but go over the cap to do that?
You are correct. They absolutely can.
But if they did that, then would a team be more inclined to basically say, okay, I'll trade for him because then he will for sure be more than 1 year?
Well, there's that, but also, yeah, I think so. Okay. I mean, the problem is though, if they don't trade him and they end up having to re-sign him, I think there's a team who might throw a max at him.
Good point. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and that would force Atlanta to eat a max contract, which I don't know if they want to do on him or not. He might be worth a max, but
if they wanted to eat a max on him, he would have gotten a max. That's how I feel.
That's my thoughts. That's exactly how I'm like. If they want to do it, they might have done it already.
And they wouldn't have drafted Onyeka Okongwu. That's also another thing I look at. They wouldn't have added another big to that rotation if they were for sure on Collins. But let's move on. The last no extension that we have to get to is Lonzo Ball. He also got 0 extensions, or you only get 1, so he didn't get a extension. Dave, same kind of question. Does this mean Lonzo is being shopped in? Is he being shopped with the Pelicans, or are they just going to go, we don't want to give you a deal. We'll see how this year goes, and we're kicking the stone to the offseason?
I think this is just kicking the stone further down the road because I don't know what his value is. Like there are many Lonzo Ball like stages of his career so far. So it's very hard to say that like what we saw in the bubble was Lonzo or what we saw during the regular season during this chunk of time. Like if you slice and dice up the season, there are a couple different phases. But the nice thing is, as a whole, this season he did shoot quite well, and I think we did get to see. Literally right as the season was ending, he literally had his best game. So that's the problem. Like he went on a streak where he was just tearing it up. Let's just say this February through the final day of the normal season prior to bubble, he was putting up like 15, 7, and 8 with 2 steals a game on 48, 45, 67 from the line, but only 1 attempt, shooting splits. And I think that lines up right around, I'm not 100%, but I think this lines up right around when Zion got back. So if he's unleashed by playing next to a Zion Williamson, then that is absolutely going to be a guy worth a massive deal. But if he's the player he was, where he was just timid and hesitant to shoot, his defense didn't really change a ton, but the offensive side of his game took a huge step backwards during the bubble, where we just saw him not very into the offense, like 30, 28, 55 shooting splits on 7, 5, and 6. Like one of those guys is worth $20 million a year. The other one is a backup guard worth like $8 million a year, And that's the problem. They have to figure it out. Though it's so wide variety depending on what part of the season you want to put a magnifying glass on. I think they have to watch him play it out this year because you have to know if he is your franchise point guard for the future, it's worth it. Like if he balls out this year, he deserves a contract, give him the contract. No problem giving the man the bag. But if he's hit and miss and he can't be consistent, you got to go find yourself your card of the future, your point guard of the future, because you have Brandon Ingram, you have Zion Williamson, you have the tools. Go finish the fucking team up. Like that's what it is.
So here's the thing I want to ask you. If let's say they're looking to trade him, because now I am working on a trade, Dave. You got me
now Ricky's got the juices
for Lonzo. Like, if you're the Pelicans, what are you looking for in return in a Lonzo deal?
I'm a Bulls fan. I want Lonzo.
I'm working to trade for the Bulls, Dave. I want to know what the Pelicans want.
Bulls and Knicks should be screaming at them.
Yes, but
give us your point guard.
Okay. Because
bad teams. That's what we are.
I don't know. Here's the deal I got for the Bulls. I don't even know if the Pelicans want it, but I would do it as a Bulls fan.
Great. This would be good.
Thad Archie in a second.
Keep going.
Thad Temple in a second.
Nope. Keep going.
What do you mean? What else are you going to give up? You're going to give up Kobe White if you're the Bulls? Like,
no, but we're more of trash. They're not going to take either one of those.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. Who else are you trading? Like, I don't think they want an Otto Porter because the contract is
Lauri.
huge. I'm not trading Lauri. I'm not.
I think Lauri and Lonzo are in the same boat as far as contracts.
I'd rather roll the dice on Lauri Markkanen and see how he is at the end of the year, because I know what's going to happen is Lauri's going to play well with the Pelicans, and it's going to be Nico Mirotic all over again.
He's going to pop off to end the year.
Yeah, he's going to pop. He's going to pop off all year round because Lauri Markkanen doesn't just get hot in April.
Yeah, I'm a Jake on this one. If Lauri's not in the deal, they're getting a first-round pick back. I don't want to give a first-round pick.
I don't either. That's the thing.
I think it would likely have Sato in there if we're giving up. If we're getting Lonzo, we'd have to give up Sato. They need a point guard back in that deal, even as a backup. But yeah, I think Lauri is the likely deal there from the Bulls side.
So Thad and Sato, or Sato and other
Sato and something else.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think that they're gonna deal with that shit. Anything less than Sato and a first.
Would you deal Hutch?
Yeah, I'd give Hutch in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
I think anybody wouldn't.
If you look, Sato, Hutch in a second, is that enough?
No, you probably need like I said, if Lauri's not in the deal, you're probably giving up a first and just trying to make contracts work somehow. Like the expectation is,
or you just add more players to the deal. Like,
oh my God,
Sato, Archie, Hutch in a second. That works contractually, Dave. But yeah, I would love fucking Lonzo on the Bulls in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I think as far as other teams, I mentioned the Knicks because I think Emmanuel quickly, have a chance to play really well this year. I don't know yet though, so I think you should go after someone like Lonzo Ball as an option. Outside of that, is there any other team that stands out as like this could be a really great landing spot for him?
The Kings. And the only reason I say the Kings is in Twitch chat, it was JD said he's a really good backup point guard. They have their point guard in De'Aaron Fox. He could back up De'Aaron.
They just got Halliburton.
Oh, that's right. Fuck that.
I
forgot we just talked about that on the mock draft, Dave. I fucking forgot.
It's fine. They haven't played games this year that count, so
I would say the Warriors, but the Warriors aren't going to give up on my boy Nico so soon. They're realistic, unlike all you Nico haters out there that to throw hatred at Nico. I'm trying to look for teams
Dallas,
that
I think would be cool. I don't know what it would take from Dallas to move to get Lonzo. Is my problem. Yeah, you give up young talent, sure, but that's the only one. I'm like, I don't know what they would move. But yeah, I think that's the only other team that I think would be all in on trying to get him.
The contracts that would be you're not going to be able to move a Tim Hardaway for him, because it would be you'd be needing to get Lonzo and something for Tim Hardaway. And if I'm the Pelicans, why the fuck do I want Tim Hardaway? I'm trying to see if there's any do the Hornets try to make a deal to pair up the Lonzo balls? The balls, the LaMelo and Lonzo backcourt. Do we get to see that? Basically what? Malik Monk, Miles Bridges deal for Lonzo Ball? That's way too much for Lonzo. I'm thinking about it. I know that you're not a big Miles Bridges fan. I know that the moist one is...
Yeah, Malik Monk hasn't played good basketball consistently. Yeah. There's a reason why he's still another guy who I don't think has an extension.
Mm-hmm. If you're the Hornets, would you... First off, would Monk, Bridges, and Graham be too much for Lonzo?
Monk, Bridges, and Graham would be way too much.
Or even like Monk and Graham. Let's say it's Monk and let's see if Monk and Graham
Graham
even
is more
work.
valuable than Lonzo Ball.
Well, that's the thing. They got LaMelo. LaMelo's the point guard of the future, like not Devontae Graham anymore.
That's great and all, but Graham's a better player.
So you're saying better player than Lonzo?
Yeah, and LaMelo right now.
Yeah, because a deal of Monk and Graham for Lonzo does work contractually. But yet again, do the Pelicans want Monk and Graham? Because they're a team that I think is going to be pushing for at least a play-in spot. At least
I can't tell if you're fucking with me. Lonzo and LaMelo would be an ideal fit from Elijah.
He said wouldn't be an ideal fit.
Oh, wouldn't be. Okay, I read that as would. My mic literally lines up with the word, with the NT right now.
He said wouldn't. I just fucking doing it for the memes, man. That's why I was like the two Ball brothers. And then you fucking sign LiAngelo, baby. You have all three of them in the NBA. One in the G League, but yeah, you have all three of them playing for the Hornets. It's just, for me, the big question with Lonzo, I asked it once, I'll ask it again. Pelican, it's not like asking you, it's more of like Pelican fans. What do you want in a Lonzo deal?
Yeah,
what are you looking to get? Because, like, I know Twitch chat brought up they drafted Kira Lewis Jr. Yeah, but he's only a rookie. He's going to need to develop this year. Lonzo's at least played in the NBA. I expect kind of a situation of where, who do we talk? Oh, we talked about the Bulls last year, where it was like, Sato might start, but by the end, Kobe White might take him over. That's what you might see with Lonzo and Lewis. Where it's like Ball starts out, but then as the season goes, Kira Lewis Jr. overplays him, and he's the starter because, Eric Bledsoe shouldn't even be touching the court because he chokes your games. Reggie Miller, he's going to choke you. He's going to choke those games away. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Bucks wanted to get rid of him.
Away, Ricky.
Well, yeah, they're going to make the play-in tournament. He's going to choke the play-in tournament away. Maybe. That's why the Suns are going to get the 8th seed.
I mean, Suns will probably get a top 8 seed. I think it might be higher than 8.
Might be higher than 8. Any final thoughts, Dave, before we wrap this one up? This is a good NBA show. What are the Nets looking like? Because you've been watching them the whole time.
Disgusting. I mean, they're just hitting every shot they want. Shane Blatt's out there.
Are you gonna lock in a KD wet boy?
I mean, it's the end of the third, and it's 98-69. Yikes is right. Golden State's being beat by about to be 30. He's at the line. And we still have a quarter to play. This is embarrassing TV. I love every second of it, though, right now. Yeah, it is great. Yeah, probably KD's getting a wet boy. I mean, they're doing
Kyrie's got more points, man. He's got more shots. Yeah, Kyrie might be playing a little better. Who knows?
If you want to talk off-season shit, Ricky, or off the court shit, go ahead and talk Kyrie Irving. Go ahead and get mad at Otto Porter. Well, Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving.
I've talked so much shit about Kyrie Irving.
He does look good, though.
He looks good, but he's a fucking idiot. Flat earther, come on now. Come on.
He said a whole lot worse than that.
There's a little thing called science, man. And who does he think he is? Phil Jackson with the sage shit? The feng shui, who does he think he is? Phil Jackson? Come on now.
Percentage Native American.
Only Phil can do that stuff, man. Phil up in Montana getting high off the reefer.
That's a different kind of
But that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys for joining in with us with all the great NBA talk. Remember, join the Discord, the greatest community on the planet, in the universe. That link down below, or !Discord, gets you it into Twitch chat. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you do that. Remember, gold and platinum. Dave recorded Dave and I, just Dave at first. We were both there. We recorded the mock draft. It's going live for patrons tomorrow. If you want to get that, you got to get to Patreon. It will be up there. You get it a week before everyone else gets to view it. So go ahead and support us if you want to get that content a week early. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. And we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. I want to thank you guys for doing everything that you do. It's been a great show. Twitch chat's been popping off today. And as always, have a good day, everybody.